If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals, and they could talk to me.
Hello, welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program about the Williamson County Animal Center. I'm Debbie Sims, and I'll be your host today. And my guest is one of our volunteers, Carla Gentry. Hey, Carla.
Hi, Debbie.
Good to see you. And Carla has brought Tripoli. Oh, you call him Trip. Trip. He is from our shelter. He's available for adoption. And our volunteers at the shelter, we have hundreds of them that do different things. And over the 7 years I've known you, you sort of stand out in my mind as a person that has sort of taken the volunteer role to a new level and because of your own interest. And you have learned lots of training methods and new ways to handle dogs and how to read a dog and what's going on in its mind. Now, how did all that start for you? How did the pit mix come into your life? Because that seems to be the dogs you end up working with.
My daughter actually adopted our first pit bull from the shelter as a puppy. Ella was found in a dumpster, I think. She looks a lot like Tripoli, and I'd never actually thought about training a dog. We just had dogs. I didn't even know you could adopt a dog from a shelter. Never even thought about it. And Ella grew and got bigger, and this dog was all over the house, and like the neighbors were looking at me funny, and I'm thinking, oh, this is strange. And I had never experienced so much prejudice before, and I thought, wow.
Was Ella actually doing anything wrong?
No.
Okay, so it was just her appearance alone. Is the pit bull, which is the common term for what breed of dog?
American Staffordshire Terrier.
It's really an American Staffordshire
Well, there is
Terrier.
an American Pit Bull Terrier.
And there's a pit bull. There's several
different
bully breeds, they
Right.
call it. But the appearance of them alone is enough to...
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating, and some people are not accepting of it at all.
Right.
And other people are inquisitive, and it's like anything else in the world, you change them one by one, don't you?
And educate.
You educate, right.
And a lot of people, either they want to come pet your dog, and oh, they just melt, or they cross the street. You know, so I thought, well, I'm going to make sure that, you know, my dog is the most well-behaved dog in the neighborhood, and, you know, we're going to outperform every little fluffy around here.
Every little fluffy.
Yeah. And I had my own little fluffy who was a horribly behaved dog.
Yeah.
And she intimidated Ella her entire life.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started
So the
watching.
little dog ruled at your house.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For entire 16 years of her life.
Every family dynamic's different.
Yes.
Every dog's different.
Exactly.
And you talked about their energy. So assess Tripoli for us and tell me a little bit about what you've discovered about him.
So Tripoli's an older dog. You would look at Tripoli initially and think, oh, that dog's high energy. He needs to go for a run. But actually Tripoli's back legs would give out on him really quickly. He's kind of got some arthritis in his back legs. He has a lot of mental anxiety he needs to let go of. He's been at the shelter longer than a lot of our dogs because Tripoli doesn't get along with other dogs. He was initially adopted to a home with some other dogs, and that didn't work out real well. He's older, and good boy.
He's got some scars.
He's got some scars. He probably has not had good experiences with other dogs in his life, and at his age, he deserves to have a good home where he can be spoiled and be the only dog. He's a sweet dog. He loves back rubs. He just melts.
He loves back rubs?
He loves back rubs.
I can tell. And
Sweetheart.
He has an anxiety problem more than he has an aggression problem with people, right?
Well, just in general, he's been in the shelter, so when a dog hasn't had the opportunity to let go of all of that stress, it just piles up on him. You know, we've been working with Trip on walking past other dogs. He walks past other dogs just fine. He doesn't have that kind of problem. I walked him with Topaz the other day, just between the fence, and Topaz walked freely. Nice loose tail wag. They were buddies at the fence. They did.
So you're kind of training him and reprogramming his brain for a life outside the shelter.
Yes.
And it's hard because every night he goes back in.
Right. So you have that pile up of negative experiences or whatever his past life was, we don't know. You know, and maybe it doesn't matter. Today has to start a new day. And we want to maybe reprint him with some good experiences as best we can. You know, we're not a rehabilitation center, but as long as we have him there,
Right.
and that we have volunteers who have time
Right.
to donate to give to dogs like this, it's a very worthy cause. We have, for example, Jordan, who had a lot of stress, had a lot of anxiety. I've never seen a dog that was more stressed out than Jordan when he first arrived. And now Jordan gives back to children, to our community, to the greater Middle Tennessee area all the time. He goes to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital every other week and
Wow.
helps children with their pain and their problems.
So he's found an outlet.
He's now
He's
a
found
therapy
a
dog.
home, and he's
Yes.
become comfortable, and now his true personality can come out,
As
which
a
is
result
comforting
of-
others.
Yes, as a result of volunteers working with that dog and helping him through his issues and
Wow.
his stress and his, you know, whatever his past life was that brought him there. You know, somebody pitched that dog out, didn't, you know, it's just a
Right.
stray, got picked up
Right.
and had a lot of issues. We helped him work through that. So did a lot of trainers in the area who donated their time. And this wonderful couple that fostered him, you know, took him through these programs to help him become a service
Wow.
dog. And now he gives back. And that is just absolutely.
Oh, I know. And there's a purpose for Tripoli out there somewhere,
Yes.
be it's been in his later years in life as somebody's companion. And he could be a quiet companion. You just have to
Yes.
know how to instill in a dog the behaviors you want.
Yes.
And so
And trust.
and trust.
Trust and
They've got to
respect.
trust you.
Yes.
And you've got to start trusting them. So
So,
now, what about your own philosophy? Do you have a dog training theology that you've followed, or who's your favorite? I mean, as far as what people would understand, the major dog trainers in the world.
I love Caesar.
Caesar Milan, okay.
I love that he follows. I think it's very fair to help a dog understand rules and boundaries, limitations, to help them drain their mental energy, exercise, discipline, then affection. You've then helped the body, the mind, and the heart,
Yeah.
the soul of a dog. You've helped fulfill them as a dog.
Yeah.
Because they're not people, and we're over-humanizing dogs and taking the dog out of the dog.
And we throw up our hands
No.
and go, gee, I wish my dog wouldn't go crazy every time the doorbell rang, or
Right.
run at people and just act like it's the end of the world if someone comes to the front door. And if you watch that Caesar Milan show, some of his typical scenarios are usually behaviors that the humans just don't know how to correct.
Right.
And just a little study,
Yes.
we can figure out that we really should be in charge, and we just haven't taken the time to
Right.
figure out how to stop the behavior. But you know, he comes into a room, and if you watch Caesar, he comes into a room and says, "Psst, I'm in charge."
Right.
Psst. You know, he sets the tone with his own body
Yeah,
language.
he does that.
And you
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, you do the
Yeah, I would do it at the shelter.
you do the snap and the shh. Yeah.
It works.
So,
Nope.
what is Tripoli's daily activity? When you work with him, what are you trying to do with him? Are you teaching him basic commands? Or are you just trying to get him to be calm and submissive?
All of the above.
Yeah.
And I help, basically, the volunteers, you know, everyone has their different way of what they're comfortable with working with, whether it's, some dogs are food motivated, some of them just really want somebody to follow. They want to have that direction. You know, it's not that you're trying to dominate a dog, you're trying to give the dog direction. Dogs want to know what to do. Like children, they want to know, where are the boundaries, where are the walls? I'm not sure how to be. They get very nervous and anxious when they don't understand, how do I be here? What needs to happen? When I can take a dog, even I use Tripoli actually. For example, we've had some dogs that have had some issues in the kennel area. One in kennel charge, or they're just nervous and scared, and they want to have this behavior in kennel charge of scaring all dogs. Like, I'm not scared of you, when in reality they're scared.
Yeah.
If I take a dog like Tripoli and have him do this in the kennel area down the aisle, and show them this dog is obedient, he is calm. There's a loose leash here. It's quiet. There's a lot of barking and echoing in here, but in this storm, it's just me and you here. It's very quiet, and we're gonna walk out of here.
When you go get
it's
him
gonna
out of
be
a
very
kennel,
quiet.
you require a certain behavior from him before you get him out, don't you?
Yes. I want it quiet. We're walking out. It's going to be calm. It's going to be a loose leash. You're not walking me. I'm walking you. And when it's that quiet,
You're
and
not
that
walking me, I'm
calm-
walking you.
Yes. And when it's that calm, it affects the other dogs in the room. and they see this, and then they calm down. They're like, oh, I'm not going to die in here. Okay.
Yeah.
And they see the obedience, and then they feel calmer and relaxed, because the whole energy that rises in there is anxiety of uncertainty of what's happening.
Right.
When they see somebody's in control and somebody can calm it down with calm energy, calm,
Right.
assertive energy, calm,
Right.
like, I'm not being ugly, I'm not being mean, I'm not raising my voice. I'm just being calm. This dog respects that, and this dog is saying, it's okay.
Wow.
And they think, oh, okay, then I won't be I can relax, I can go lay down. Great, that's awesome.
And I think that's a big step for a lot of people to understand that the dog feeds off of your own energy.
Yes.
And if you're frantic and screaming at the dog, stop barking, they don't get that. You know, there was somebody in the dog park that's dog was nipping at other dogs, and she goes, don't initiate. And I'm like, they don't understand, don't initiate.
No.
The dog is 50 yards away, and you're not really doing anything except making the rest of the people feel like you're trying a little bit. So, I mean, there's a responsibility that comes with dog ownership.
Absolutely.
And the bigger they are, the stronger they are.
Right.
And so this Tripoli, if he wants to walk you and pull you,
Absolutely.
that is that's a losing proposition for both of you.
Absolutely.
Right, because he's out of control, and you can't control him if he's just going to use his strength to pull you.
Right.
Now, he's still learning. He's still learning. What motivates him? When you work with him? Is he treat motivated? Is he affection?
We actually don't give him a lot of treats, so he doesn't get that. It's just rules and boundaries for sure.
So he's better off. I mean, if you give a dog a treat every 2 seconds,
well,
it's just not going to be good.
If you're giving them treats all the time, now you've become a pushover, because I'll just take food from you. I just take food from you.
It's like disciplining your child. You save it for the big stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I own the food.
Right. It's mine, and you earn it from me. So.
And I do use food for some of the dogs when I'm training them. Sometimes if it's walking and I want to keep them in the sweet spot, I'll keep the food back here. That way they understand this. I don't have to use any leash pressure at all on the dog. It just depends on the situation.
So you said rules,
boundaries,
limitations, where you can and can't go. These are all things that we want to try to teach a new dog, because it keeps the dog safe, it keeps our family safe, and it keeps us safe. So we can take a walk in the neighborhood and have a calm, submissive dog, which changes the image if we have people who are predetermined to be prejudiced against a big dog, a scary-looking dog, only because we haven't been exposed to them. So there's a lot to learn there for our dog owners. We're going to take a quick break and then come back and watch Tripoli walk through the paces with Carla and see how he's learning.
Every year, it costs Tennessee more than $15 million to clean up roadside litter. It's time to keep your trash to yourself and our roadways clear, because nobody trashes Tennessee.
Hello, welcome back to Pet Watch. For the second half of our show, we're going to try some demonstrations with Carla Gentry, who is our volunteer that's worked so much with Tripoli. We met Tripoli in the first part of the show, and in this segment, we're going to see how Carla works with him, because he's still learning, right, Carla?
Yes.
Okay, the first thing that happens with a volunteer is you go to get the dog out of the kennel, and we talked about how you require a certain response from the animals that you get out of the shelter, including Trip.
Yes.
And that is calm and submissive before you let him leave.
Yes.
So even if he's excited about going walking, what do you do to make him calm and submissive?
I ask him to wait at the doorway. He doesn't have to sit. He doesn't have to, not going to make him sit or anything like that. Just before he exits the kennel, I'm asking him to wait calmly till I prefer a little eye contact or something like that. But as long as he waits calmly and he's not overexcited and rushing the door,
right?
And he understands, wait a second, calm down, good job, buddy, and then we exit.
and then you put him on a leash, and you've got a,
Well, we leash up before we exit.
you leash up in the kennel, and then you open the door and go outside.
Wait a second, then we exit, then we calmly wait again before we make our way down the aisle, so we're not overexciting the other dogs.
And do you make him pass through a door with you, but never in front of you?
Right.
Is that the normal rule? Is you don't want the dog leading you down out
Right.
the door?
He doesn't
Okay.
get to push the door open himself or anything like that.
So if people at home have a dog that's just so excited to go out for a walk, that's great, and it needs to be walked, but if you require those behaviors,
Yes.
calming down, sitting,
Waiting,
we're going on a walk, but the human is in charge.
right?
And then when we go out the door, keeping a short leash rather than extending. And what do you think about those retractable ones? Are they a problem?
Throw them away.
Throw them away. That's your opinion.
Throw them away.
Yeah, they are hard because they often get dogs entangled, and the humans don't have them on a short enough leash.
They
so
can injure people really bad. Burns, they cut you badly. They can actually cause dogs to go missing and get hurt, run out in traffic. If you drop that leash, that retractable thing, it starts retracting itself.
yeah.
And next thing you know, the dog thinks something's chasing it, and it's going to keep running.
So we tend to use a clip-on lead with most dogs.
No, we use a slip lead.
A slip lead. So typically that would be like a rope-like leash that's woven that goes around, and then you cinch it a little bit tighter. Today he's got a different
Yes.
setup.
He has a small prong collar on today.
Okay, but notice how short. I notice how short you're keeping it to show him that you're in charge.
Yes.
And it's loose,
It's loose.
but he's controlled at this point. So the shelter we talked about is a frantic, high-energy place
Yes.
for most dogs, and they don't behave the way they will with people when they're in the kennel.
Right. No.
They don't know where they are. They can't see the dog next to them.
Right.
They see a concrete wall in front. And so that's what we like to get them in and out of there, adopted as fast as we can. Hence, this
Absolutely.
guy's, the longer they're there, what happens?
The anxiety builds up, the frustration. This is not a normal, it's not a normal natural environment. Like you
Normal
said.
living environment.
No, and they don't get enough time out, even though we are very blessed to have an amazing volunteer team and our dogs probably get walked more than the average dog
Oh, yeah.
in a home gets walked.
That's right. That's
Which
right.
is interesting, but they still go back into a situation where it's echoey, it's, there's cleaners going on in there, it's not normal.
And they all get frantically excited when anyone goes down the middle row, because that's for volunteers
There's new
only.
dogs and
they
there's
think,
just-
it's me, it's me, it's me.
Yeah.
And so they all start to bark at once.
Energy crescendo in there.
Right. They feed off each other, even though they sometimes can't see each other all the time.
They need a detox period, and a lot of people when they adopt a dog don't think about that.
Yeah.
They don't think about a shelter dog being stressed. They think, oh, it's just going to be great for me when we adopted the dog, we rescued the dog. So they get very emotional about it, which is wonderful. That yes, you did, yes, that happened, and yes, the dog is very grateful. But all change is stressful for a dog, even good change. And when they leave that shelter, they need a little bit of detox time to kind of come away from that and understand what's happening at your house. Even the shelter had structure,
Yeah.
which was good for them on a level,
Right, right.
And your house needs to have some structure so they understand and that they can breathe a minute, they can take some long walks with you, and it's about a relationship. More than all the rules and boundaries and all the other things, the structure is very important, but the relationship is more important. The relationship needs to be built on trust and respect, and that begins with some structure. And it needs to be made fair for the dog. Set it up really
Are you
fair.
more the structure person at your house?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you are more the dog controller. They respond more readily to you, though they behave for others and they interact with others. There usually needs to be one person who's willing and able to try to give the dog what it wants and what it needs. Because when it's counter surfing or chewing up
Oh,
your
no.
pillow,
Yeah.
that is not what it wants or needs.
No.
That's simply a sign that it needs more.
It's an indication, yes.
Yeah.
But what people see too, though, is, we love dogs, or so they love us unconditionally. But as humans, we don't love our dogs unconditionally. It's very conditional.
Yeah.
I love you if you do what I want you to do. And, they forget that it's a dog, it's not a human.
Right.
So you have to fulfill it
Yeah.
as a dog, not a human.
Right. You don't train your child to make their bed or clean up their room, and the responsibility for that is built over months and years.
And understanding.
A sense of responsibility, and it's not something you do overnight.
Right. It
So,
takes time.
Yeah, I'm always saddened by someone who falls in love with a dog and then they bring it back the next morning. And I go, I'm not sure you gave it enough time. I understand. And if you really feel like you don't have the time or the inclination to do what's needed to be done, we'll find it in another
Absolutely.
home. It's
Absolutely.
okay. But people need to think ahead, especially if they're not familiar with dogs and haven't had one
Right.
in years.
It's a new experience.
Times are changing. Yeah, and
Education is a big deal, and that's in everyone. I know you included. Everyone at the shelter we do our level best to try to
Yeah.
help everyone understand what's about to happen when you take this dog home.
Right, we do. Now, if you would mind, I'd like for our viewers to see you just walking him up and down and how you do corrections. And if they'll watch, if Tripoli starts to go in one direction, you don't want him to.
Right.
You steer him the other way. So
Yes.
if you've got a way to talk to us, so if you could just tell us what you're doing and go back and forth a little bit.
Okay, so when we start the walk, we try to make it fair for the dog. Sit. Good job, buddy. So we want to make it fair and let him understand what the pressure means and how to turn it off. So we don't want the dog dragging us or pulling us. If he starts to pull or gets out in front, I'm going to make a right turn and help him, give him a little bit of a verbal and let him know what I want and what I don't want. The loose leash is going to mean, yes, that's what I want. And if it gets tight, that's when I'm going to turn around. If I just simply turn around and do what's called a 180, then the dog's going to understand that, oh, she's going that way. I have the leash. So at the end of the day, he's going to have to turn around and follow me. So if he gets out in front of me, a little bit of planned failure, I may allow it, and I'm going to give a little sideways correction, turn around. I snap my fingers a lot. It's just a thing I do.
That's a good thing. They have
instead of a
clickers that
verbal,
people-
it's kind of a clicker, it's kind of a whatever you do, but it's a heads up for the dog, so I don't have to use a lot of leash pressure. It's a heads up for him, so I'm making it fair. He knows something's about to happen. I can also use the sound of my feet in the gravel at the shelter, so that they begin to know the rhythm of my feet, what's going to happen. I can do a hard stop, things like that. So I'm giving the dog a heads up to make it fair.
And a real life scenario is you're out with your dog in the neighborhood and he sees another dog on the other side of the street and he wants to take off for it. That's when that diversion, that 180 could come in handy.
Turn around.
Let's see if Trip wants to
Simple as
cooperate.
that. And I'll say, you'll probably hear me say by default, on me. I believe it was National Canine that shared that with us.
On me?
On me.
On me, that it's kind of.
It was a helpful
aside.
thing to understand for a food motivated dog, especially to not have to use as much leash pressure. The dog understood, on me, nope, right here. A dog understood that meant I want you right here.
And he's not in front
That
of you?
meant right here.
On
my hip.
Okay.
Nope.
So that's a good place to be, since you're
So
in
no matter,
control.
that was kind of the sweet spot right here that we're feeding right there. So no matter what was going on, whether I had a treat or not, that might mean a pet, didn't necessarily mean food. But that meant this is where I want you, right here. So I may give you some more leash, some extra whatever, room to go potty, whatnot, when we're out walking. But when I say that, that's where I want you.
Okay.
And if there's, for example, we're passing another dog or something, or there's something going on in the environment that I decide, mommy, and I give him a little snap, that's not necessarily what they said. That's at the shelter, I'll do that for a dog. That means I've decided that's where I want
And
you.
it's consistent.
Yes.
It's not only when another dog's coming along,
No,
but
could be
it's
anything.
every day if you're by yourself or you're walking right up and down here.
Yes.
You've got to be consistent about insisting on that behavior over and over again.
And he's trusting me to keep him safe. So he's not having to address things in the environment
Right.
or situations. He knows I am. He can just enjoy being a dog. He doesn't have to worry about being out front, having his chest pushed out, like scanning and patrolling the environment, loading his guns up and like looking
Right.
around for what can I, what do I need to be paying attention to. He can just enjoy being a dog.
Okay.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go. Good job. No. Mommy, good boy. No. Uh-oh. Good boy. Good job, buddy. No. Good boy. So he's looking at me the whole time. No. Good boy. If he stops, he just knows to look back at me. Good boy. Uh-oh, Drip. Good boy.
So he's seeing things off camera that
Yes.
attract him, or lights, or
Good job, buddy.
other things, but you're trying to bring his focus always back to you.
So he got a little excited, so I'm making him go into a sit. Good job, buddy. Got a little excited.
It's kind of like sitting down with a child.
Yep. Down.
Calm down for a while.
Down. Sit. Good boy. Down. Good job, buddy. Let's
Now,
go.
what commands have you worked on him? Worked with?
On me.
What does he know so far?
He knows just about everything. On me, Trip. Come. Good boy. Sit. Straight up. Sit. Good job. He knows if I stop, he's going to sit. If I give him a little leash pressure, he knows down. Down. Good boy. Down. Down. Nope. Sit. Good. Down. 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 Nope. Sit, buddy. Good job. Down. Down. Down.
I think he's trying to crawl off the set, Carla.
I think he is. Come on, Trip. Come.
Come back around here,
Sit.
buddy.
Good boy. Sit. Nope. Good.
Now, for a person who adopts an animal that would like to start teaching it some of these behaviors, there are several training programs around and lots of trainers. And in my opinion, any kind of training is better than none.
Yes.
Because the trainers basically all try to teach you through their methods the basic commands: sit, stay, down, and then you can advance from there to longer stays and other, I'm not familiar with all the terms, but what are they there?
Place command. Rather than stay.
Place.
Place command is preferred rather than stay.
Okay.
Because stay is
Well, times are
place.
changing.
Yeah.
It's called place now.
Place,
So
yes.
it's teaching an animal to have that control.
And stay there. Well, basically, go to place until you're released from your place.
And imagine how that could come in handy at home.
Yeah. And also that when they have to stay physically in that place, their mind eventually, where the body stays there, the mind has to eventually follow into a calm, relaxed position. And that's dog training. There's different theories too. Of course, there's dog training and there's dog psychology, where the dog is actually just following you. Like, I don't have to train my dog's just going to follow me. So it's not about dog. There's
Yeah, we
different
don't
theories
need
of
it to
dog.
jump through hoops or anything, you know, in a performance. But
Right.
we do want to be able to walk our
Obedience.
dog
Yes.
safely
Calmly.
for both of us.
Right.
And if we come across another dog, we want to have in our repertoire what are we going to come up, what's our response going to be. So
Right.
thank you for showing us that. Hey, Trip,
Absolutely.
I appreciate all your help, Carla. I want to let our viewers know what's coming up in September because we're going to be very busy. The shelter has some great activities planned, and one brand new one is the Bark and Splash Bash, where you can actually get in the pool at our Longview Recreation Center in Spring Hill with your pup on Saturday, September 8th. If you're interested in participating in that, we want to thank Williamson County Parks and Recreation for making those arrangements to let the dogs in the pool. And secondly, the $20 per dog entry fee goes back to the Williamson County Animal Center. You do have to register online at wcparksandrec.com. You can register for the small dog swim or the large dog swim. And there are waivers and proof of rabies information there that you'll have to have the morning you check in. So if you want to bring your dog, small dogs will be able to get in the pool because it is a zero entry pool. It's like a beach. It starts flat and then it slants down. Plus we'll have a woof woof water park on the side with the fire plugs and baby pools and a ball crawl for the smaller dogs that might not want to get in the deep water. So we have lots of things going on. You can bring your family. They can sit in the Bow Wow Boosters section and take pictures of you and watch your dog have a lot of fun. Also on September 15th and 16th, we'll have an ASPCA Subaru Loves Pets fee waived weekend, where the ASPCA and Subaru will be paying all the adoption fees. That's at the shelter September 15th and 16th. And then our monthly rabies clinic is back on Saturday, September 29th from 9 to 11 at the shelter. You can get a rabies shot for $10 or a microchip for $15. I cannot stress enough the importance of microchips. We reunite pets every day with the microchip, so it's a cheap way to keep your pets safe forever. Just remember to always check the information that you've entered online that goes with the chip so we can always find you if your phone number or address changes. Carla, thank you again.
Thank you, Debbie.
I encourage people who might want to work with either cats or dogs to go to our website, www.adoptwcac.org, and click Volunteer Opportunities. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next month on Pet Watch.
If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals,